What is the most haunted place in the United States? Some say it's the Waverly Hills Sanatorium. Others say it's Eastern State Penitentiary. But I don't care what they say. I know the most haunted place in the United States is hidden deep in the West Virginia mountains. And it's not even a building. It's an entire asylum. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of This U.S. Asylum Hides a Terrifying Secret. Today, we are exploring the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. Make sure if you explore this place yourself, that you do not get lost because no one knows how big it really is. The history of the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum is actually quite sad. In 1848, plans were made for a new state hospital. After the old state hospital was deemed too small, work began in 1851 and took only 2 years to complete. This was quick for a building of its size. But corners were cut, and it was built with cheap materials. By 1855, patients were being admitted. The first superintendent of the hospital was Dr. John H. McHenry, who had previously worked at the Maryland Asylum in Baltimore. He brought with him 5 of his former patients, which included a man who talked to himself, a man who believed he could fly, and a woman who bit chunks out of her own skin. With the asylum being so new, there weren't any laws or regulations for how asylums should be run. So Dr. McHenry pretty much did whatever he wanted. At one point, he chained all of his patients to their beds, convinced they were plotting a rebellion. It didn't take long for the horror stories to start coming from this place. Stories like the time a night watchman opened the door to a patient's room and found them levitating above their bed, or when a nurse entered a room and saw the ghost of a little girl sitting in a chair rocking back and forth. There was also a tunnel that ran underneath the hospital. It was used by patients and staffs to escape, as well as by ghosts to travel from building to building. That tunnel is still there to this day, and if you can find it, it's said the ghosts will let you pass without harming you. But if you make noise while in the tunnels, they will attack. Many people have gone missing in those tunnels, and some have even died. In 1909, Dr. McHenry retired. The new superintendent, Dr. William A. Rush, was more progressive. He focused on making the asylum more of a community for the patients rather than a prison. Sadly, this didn't last long. As World War I came around, the government decided to use the asylum to house soldiers who suffered from mental breakdowns. These soldiers were violent and unruly, and the staff was quickly overwhelmed. The soldiers were kept in a separate part of the asylum, and it was here that they told stories of ghosts and strange occurrences, which only made things worse. Rumor has it that the soldiers dug up the bodies of the patients in the asylum's cemetery and used them for target practice. To this day, no one knows what happened to those bodies. After World War I ended, the asylum went back to housing regular patients. But by the 1950s, the numbers were dwindling. Most of the patients were transferred to other facilities, leaving Trans-Allegheny empty. In 1994, the asylum was added to the National Register of Historic Places, but unfortunately, it was vandalized shortly after. Windows were broken, walls were covered in graffiti, and a fire was started in the basement. Because of this, the asylum was closed off to the public. But just 3 years later, in 1997, it was decided that the asylum would be open for tours. But there was a catch. No one was allowed to go inside any of the buildings. The grounds were open to explore, but the buildings remained off limits until 2008, when the caretakers finally gave a tour inside. If you visit Trans-Allegheny Asylum today, you're in for a night that you'll never forget. Some of the things you might see include a little girl in a Victorian nightgown, a man in a top hat, and a cane, or the ghost of a man who died in the tunnels. If you're brave enough, you can stay overnight in one of the buildings. And if you may hear chains dragging metal moans, smell rotting flesh, or feel an icy cold hand, grab your shoulder. So, now I ask you, what is the scariest ghost story you've ever heard from this place? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to see more videos like this, then stay tuned for more content. And, as always, thanks for watching.